Look at yourself, really look, not at the reflection you pose for in the mirror, the one with the practiced expression and the stiff jaw. Look at the version of you that exists when no one is watching, the one who swallows his words. The one who laughs when he wants to scream, the one who says sorry for existing in someone else's space. That man, he has no power, and the worst part, you think that's just who you are, you think it's personality, you think it's politeness. You think it's being a good person. It's not, it's fear wearing a mask of virtue. And every single person you interact with can smell it on you like blood in the water. You walk through your day convinced you're invisible. Not because you want to be, but because you've accepted it. You've accepted that your voice doesn't carry, that your presence doesn't register, that your opinion is optional. And somewhere deep inside, you've made peace with a terrifying truth: you don't matter to the people who matter. But here's what you haven't understood yet. That feeling, that weight you carry, it's not the world rejecting you. It's the world responding to a signal you're broadcasting 24 hours a day. The signal of a man who has already surrendered. You've been taught your whole life that power is something you earn. That if you work hard enough, if you're kind enough, if you're patient enough, eventually people will recognize your worth. They will see you. They will respect you. This is the lie that keeps men like you weak. This is the bedtime story they tell you so you stay in your lane, while the men who understand how power actually works take everything you were too polite to reach for. Stop for a second and ask yourself a question that might actually hurt. When was the last time someone changed their behavior because of you? When was the last time a room went quiet when you entered? When was the last time someone thought twice before crossing you? If you're honest, the answer is probably never, and you've convinced yourself that's humility. That's being chill. That's not making waves. No, it's extinction. It's the slow death of a man who never learned the one law that governs every human interaction since the beginning of time. That law is older than kings, older than empires. It's Machiavelli's law of fear. And until you understand it, until it lives in your bones, you will always be the one who gets used, the one who gets ignored, the one who gets left behind while the wolves feed. You can feel it, can't you? That tightening in your chest. That voice telling you this is uncomfortable, that maybe you should click away. That voice is your survival instinct screaming at you because it knows that what you're about to hear will change you. But you're still here. That means something. That means somewhere beneath the fear there's a spark that hasn't been extinguished, a memory of the man you could have been. And that ghost is about to get very, very real, because Machiavelli didn't write for princes. He wrote for men like you, men who looked at the game board and realized they weren't even players. Men who finally got angry enough to ask, what do they know that I don't? So here's your warning: what you're about to learn cannot be unlearned. Once you see how fear actually works, once you understand that every human interaction is a negotiation of who is afraid of whom, you will never look at kindness, respect, or love the same way again. You will see the strings, you will see the game. And you will have to decide, stay on the board as a piece or pick up the board and become the player. Let's be honest about something. You're tired, not the good kind of tired after a hard day's work. You're tired in your soul. You're tired of giving and getting nothing back. Tired of being the one who shows up while others take advantage. Tired of watching people who are less talented rise while you stay exactly where you've always been. And you've been told your whole life that this is just how it is. That if you just keep your head down and work hard, someday maybe things will change. But deep down, you've started to suspect the truth. The truth is this: the world is not fair. It never has been. And the people who told you it was weren't lying. They were just repeating what they were taught. A system of beliefs designed to keep the herd calm, to keep the cattle from noticing the fence. You've been trained to believe that if you're good, people will be good to you. If you sacrifice, you'll be rewarded. This is the morality trap, and it's the oldest trick in the book because it keeps you predictable. It keeps you manageable. It keeps you from ever becoming dangerous enough to challenge the ones at the top. Look at the people who have power over you. Your boss who takes credit for your work. The friend who only calls when he needs something. What do they all have in common? They're not afraid of losing you, and why would they be? You've taught them through every interaction that your needs come second, that your boundaries are suggestions, that you'll be there, reliable, desperate, no matter how little they give in return. You've trained them. And now you're confused why they don't respect you. This is the part that's going to hurt. You are not a victim of the world's cruelty. You are a victim of your own need to be liked. Your desperation for approval is the leash they use to drag you anywhere they want. But here's the paradox. The very people you're trying to please don't respect the people they can control. They use them, they consume them, then they discard them, the people they actually respect. The ones they fear losing, those are the ones who might walk away, the ones who don't need them. Think about the most powerful person you know, not the loudest, the most powerful, the one who walks into a room and something shifts, people straighten up. That person didn't get that power by being nice. They got it because somewhere along the line, people learned that crossing them had consequences. And that's the word, isn't it? Consequences. You've spent your whole life avoiding them, being agreeable, making sure no one ever had a reason to be upset with you. But in avoiding consequences for others, you've created the ultimate consequence for yourself. You've made yourself completely safe to ignore. And this is where Machiavelli enters. Because 500 years ago in the streets of Florence, a man watched good men get destroyed and cruel men triumph. He watched kindness get rewarded with daggers and ruthlessness get rewarded with crowns. And he asked the question you're asking right now, why? Machiavelli's answer was simple and devastating. He said that men are motivated by two things, love and fear. But here's what he understood that you don't. Love is fickle. Love depends on the goodwill of others. Love can be withdrawn the moment you stop providing something, but fear is permanent. Fear lives in the bones of the person who feels it, and it shapes their behavior long after you've left the room. And this is where you've been making your fatal mistake. You've been building your life on love, on being liked, on hoping that if people love you enough, they'll treat you well. But love doesn't create respect. Only one thing does that, and it's the thing you've been avoiding your entire life. Fear, not terror, not violence, but the quiet, certain knowledge that you are not someone to be trifled with, that there is a line, and crossing it has consequences. This is Machiavelli's law of fear, and until you understand it, you will always be the one who gets used. Niccolo Machiavelli. The name itself has become an insult. To call someone Machiavellian is to call them evil, but Machiavelli wasn't evil, he was honest. In a world of pleasantries and be nice and everything will work out, he was the one man brave enough to write down how power actually works, not how we wish it worked. He wrote The Prince not as a manual for tyranny, but as a desperate attempt to understand why the good guys kept losing. He watched idealists get crushed, he watched moral men get executed, and he asked, what if the problem isn't the world? What if the problem is our understanding of how it works? And his answer, the one that got him hated for 500 years, was simple. He said, and I quote, "It is much safer to be feared than loved, because love is preserved by the link of obligation which, owing to the baseness of men, is broken at every opportunity for their advantage. But fear preserves you by a dread of punishment which never fails." Read that again, let it land. Love is preserved by the link of obligation which is broken at every opportunity for their advantage. Translation, people will be good to you only as long as it benefits them. The moment your back is turned, that love disappears like morning fog, but fear doesn't depend on your continued usefulness. Fear doesn't vanish when someone better comes along. Fear lives in the other person's chest, reminding them that crossing you has a price they're not willing to pay. This isn't about making people terrified of you, it's about making sure they never forget that you are not safe to exploit. And this is where you've been failing. You've been trying to make people love you. You've been trying to earn respect through service, through being indispensable. But indispensable people get used until they're empty, then they get replaced. The people who last, the people who matter, they've learned a different lesson. They've learned that it's better to be respected than liked, better to be feared than loved. Machiavelli wasn't telling princes to be cruel. He was telling them to be real, to understand that in a world of wolves, the sheep don't get to vote on who leads, and right now, in this moment, you have been voting. You've been hoping the wolves will recognize your gentle heart and spare you. They won't. It's not in their nature, but here's the hope. You are not born a sheep or a wolf, you become one through every choice, every boundary you didn't set, every word you swallowed. You have been training yourself to be prey. And if you can train yourself to be prey, you can train yourself to be something else. The next 10 minutes will show you how. 6 lessons from Machiavelli's law of fear. 6 steps from prey to predator, not to destroy others, but to finally protect yourself. Lesson 1, the fear equation. Here's something no one ever told you. In every interaction, the other person is running a calculation. It happens in milliseconds, below the level of thought. The calculation is simple. What happens if I disrespect this person? What happens if I take from them? If the answer is nothing, if there are no negative consequences for using you, then you will be used. Not because people are evil, because it's the path of least resistance. Why would they treat you well if treating you poorly costs them nothing? This is the fear equation. It doesn't mean you need to terrify everyone you meet. It means they need to know deep in their bones that crossing you has a cost, that there's a line, and that line is real. Most men spend their whole lives with invisible boundaries, boundaries that exist only in their heads. And the world reads invisibility as permission. Think about the people who take the most from you, the friend who always needs a favor but never returns one, the coworker who takes credit for your work. Have you ever made them feel what it would be like to lose you? To have you simply not be there anymore? Probably not, because you're afraid that if you withdraw, they won't chase you. And you're right, they might not. But the people who won't chase you are exactly the people who shouldn't be in your life. The ones who stay only because you're convenient, let them go. The ones who respect you enough to value your presence, they'll feel your absence like a wound. Today's practice: identify one relationship where you give more than you receive. For 1 week, match their energy exactly. If they call, wait as long to respond as they wait for you, not to punish them, to show yourself what happens when you stop overfunctioning. The result will tell you everything. Lesson 2, the predator's dilemma. Predators have an incredible ability. They can smell weakness. Not literally, but they can read the micro signals of a potential victim. The way you hold your eyes, the tension in your shoulders, the speed of your speech, the 1,000 tiny ways you broadcast whether you're prey or predator. And here's what they're looking for: the flinch. The moment when you could stand your ground but you don't. The second when you could say no but you say yes. The instant when you could hold eye contact but you look away. Every time you flinch, you're broadcasting one thing: I am prey. Think about the last time someone disrespected you. In that moment, there was a split second where you could have responded, could have held the line, and then you didn't. You told yourself it wasn't worth it. You told yourself you were being the bigger person. But here's the truth: predators know there are no small moments. Every time you let a boundary slide, you're training yourself to be weak, and you're training others that you're safe to exploit. The flinch is never just one flinch. It's a pattern, and patterns become character. And character becomes destiny. Today's practice: for the next 24 hours, do not look away first. In any interaction, hold eye contact until they look away. That's it. No aggression, just the quiet refusal to be the one who submits. You'll be amazed at how differently people treat you. Lesson 3, scarcity and withdrawal. You are too available, too accessible, too easy to reach. And because you're always there, you're never valued. This is a fundamental law of psychology. We value what's rare, what's difficult to obtain, what might not be there tomorrow. But you've made yourself as common as air, and air is free for a reason. Think about how you respond to messages. Instant, right? Think about how you make time for people. Anyone who asks, you rearrange your schedule. You've trained everyone in your life that you're always on call. And on-call workers don't get respect, they get used. This knowledge is for protection, not destruction. The goal isn't to manipulate people. The goal is to stop being manipulated yourself. Your constant availability is not kindness, it's a signal that your time has no value. If you don't value your time, why would anyone else? Here's what happens when you withdraw. At first, people will try harder, they'll reach out more, they'll make you feel guilty. This is the test. If you cave now, you've trained them that they just need to push harder. But if you hold, something shifts. They either reveal their true nature by leaving, or they reveal their true respect by staying. Today's practice: for 1 week, double your response time. If you usually respond within minutes, wait an hour. If you usually respond within hours, wait a day. Not to play games, to break the addiction of availability. Use that time for yourself. Watch how people's perception of you shifts when you're no longer instantly theirs. Lesson 4, the predictability trap. You are too easy to read, too consistent. People know exactly what you'll do in every situation, and because they know, they can plan around you. They can use you, they can dismiss you, confident that you'll still be there tomorrow, still the same, still desperate. Think about how you react to criticism. Do you always defend? Always apologize? People know. Think about how you handle conflict. Do you always avoid it, always give in? People know, and they use what they know. The predictable man is a solved problem. People don't have to think about him, they just plug him into their plans and move on. But the unpredictable man, the one who might say yes or might say no, the one who might walk away, that man is a problem they have to solve. And problems get attention. This doesn't mean become chaotic. It means stop being so easy to categorize. Surprise people sometimes. Say no when they expect yes. Walk away when they expect you to stay. Break the pattern. Watch how quickly the people who dismissed you start paying attention. Today's practice: do one thing today that breaks your predictable pattern. If you always agree, disagree politely about something small. If you always stay late, leave exactly on time. Nothing dramatic, just a small crack in the predictable surface. See who suddenly realizes they don't have you figured out. Lesson 5: the approval addiction. You need to be liked, you need to be approved, and this need is a leash. A short, strong leash that anyone can grab and pull whenever they want. Machiavelli saw this clearly. He saw men destroy themselves for the approval of people who didn't care if they lived or died. Think about how much of your behavior is shaped by what others might think. The clothes you wear, the opinions you express, the dreams you allow yourself to have, how much of your life is actually yours and how much is just a performance for an audience that doesn't even care. Here's the truth that will set you free: other people's approval is not a resource you need to survive. It's a drug, and like any drug, the more you chase it, the more you need. And the more you need, the more power you give away. Every time you change yourself for someone else's approval, you're handing them a piece of your soul. The opposite of approval seeking isn't being disliked, it's being indifferent. It's reaching a place where someone's opinion of you simply doesn't register as important, not because you're arrogant. Because your sense of worth comes from within, not from the applause of people who will forget you the moment you leave the room. Today's practice: do one thing today that you want to do, regardless of what others might think. Wear something you like but were afraid to wear. Express an opinion you usually keep quiet. Do it for yourself, and notice nothing happens. The world doesn't end, and you just took one step toward becoming a man who doesn't need permission to exist. Lesson 6: the fear transmutation. Here's the final piece, the master key. You've spent your whole life trying to get rid of fear, trying to be brave, trying to conquer your anxiety, but Machiavelli knew something you don't. Fear isn't the enemy, fear is fuel. The question isn't whether you feel fear, the question is who controls it. Right now, your fear controls you. It makes you flinch, it makes you small, but fear is just energy, pure, powerful energy. And energy can be directed. The same fear that makes you shrink can make you strike. The same fear that makes you run can make you fight. The only difference is who's driving. Think about the last time fear made you small. That tight chest, that quickened breath, that same physical response is what a warrior feels before battle. The difference isn't the feeling. The difference is what they tell themselves about it. The coward tells himself, "I'm afraid, so I must be in danger." The warrior tells himself, "I'm afraid, so I must be alive." The coward tries to make the fear go away. The warrior uses the fear to sharpen his senses. Same fear, different relationship to it, entirely different outcome. This is the lesson that ties everything together. The fear of being used becomes the fuel to set boundaries. The fear of being ignored becomes the fuel to become unforgettable. The fear of being disrespected becomes the fuel to command respect. You don't need to be fearless. You need to be fearless enough to use your fear. Today's practice: the next time you feel fear, real fear, don't run from it, feel it fully. And then ask yourself, what would this energy feel like if I used it to move forward instead of backward? 6 lessons, 1 truth. You have been living your life as prey because you were taught to. Because the people who raised you, taught you, and employed you benefit from a world where you stay small, stay predictable, and stay desperate for approval. But now you know, now you see, and seeing changes everything. This is the moment, the line between the man you were and the man you're becoming. And it's not about becoming cruel, it's about becoming real. Finally, completely, dangerously real. The old you is dead, the one who apologized for existing, the one who shrank to make others comfortable. That man is gone, and in his place stands someone who understands, finally understands, that power is not taken, it's not given, it's claimed. By the simple act of refusing to be prey anymore, you are a weapon, pointed at your own future. For years, you aimed that weapon at yourself every time you stayed quiet, every time you accepted less. You were destroying yourself and calling it virtue. But now the weapon turns. Now it points at the world that tried to keep you small. Machiavelli wrote for princes. But you are your own prince now, your own sovereign territory, and like any sovereign, you have borders, lines that cannot be crossed. And anyone who crosses them learns quickly and permanently that you are not safe to exploit. You belong to no one, not your boss, not your friends. Not the people who expect you to be available, predictable, and desperate. You belong to yourself, fully, completely, irrevocably. And from this moment forward, your energy is yours, your time is yours, your life is yours. This is what Machiavelli knew. This is why his words have survived 500 years. People will always test your boundaries. They will always push to see how much they can take. The only question is, what will they find when they push? Will they find the old you, the one who flinches? The one who hopes that if he's just nice enough, they'll stop? Or will they find someone new, someone who doesn't need to be feared, but is perfectly willing to be? Someone who understands that on the other side of that line lies everything you've been missing. The world will tell you this is wrong. The world will tell you to be nice, to be agreeable, to be the bigger person. The world tells you this because the world needs you weak. The world needs you manageable, but you don't belong to the world anymore. You belong to yourself, and from this moment forward you move differently, you speak differently, you exist differently, not because you're trying to prove something, because you finally understand something most men never learn. You are a weapon pointed at your own future, and that future starts now. You made it 10 minutes, maybe the most uncomfortable 10 minutes of your life, but you stayed. That tells me you're ready for more truth, more of what they don't want you to know. I have one question for you. A question I want you to answer in the comments. A question that will tell you and everyone else exactly where you stand. What is one boundary you're going to set this week that you've been too afraid to set before? Answer honestly. Answer bravely. And while you're there, read what others have written. You're not alone in this. There are thousands of men just like you, waking up, standing up, becoming who they were always meant to be. The comments are where you'll find them. And if you want more truth, more strategies, more of what they kept hidden, then hit subscribe. Not because I'm asking, because you're telling yourself that you're the kind of man who doesn't stop halfway, who doesn't turn back, who goes all the way. The old you is dead. Long live the new.